Folks, good morning. Jared Floyd here with the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. A new tornado warning has just been issued. It includes portions of Red River and Natchitoches parishes, but also includes southern sections of Bienville Parish. It goes until 12:30 in the morning. Again, this particular tornado warning, technically for a storm that has not moved into our area yet. But the downstream tornado warning does include southern sections of Bienville Parish. For folks that have not necessarily been paying as much attention to the forecast, a tornado watch is in effect for much of our southern parishes and areas until 4 a.m. Again, this is this warning just coming out, and also, ironically, in an area that is not under the current tornado watch. Bienville Parish is not in the current tornado watch, but they now have a tornado warning. So again, sometimes with the warm front lifting northward across the area, it kind of set us up for the possibility for some areas to see that more favorable environment kind of reestablish itself. And that's where we are right now with this storm as it starts to move off to the north and east. Checking the storm relative velocity is not overly organized in terms of what we're seeing there, but clearly some strong shear indicators as this storm starts to move toward the Martin community, eventually downstream toward Ashland and Saline, or Saline, depending on how you want to say it. But this is the area that we're looking at for potential tornado. It was a couplet that had just exited just east of the Coshada area, continuing to move off to the north and east. Will eventually impact the Lucky community and some of the surrounding areas in south central sections of Bienville Parish. Again, this storm currently moving northeast at 75 miles per hour as it's clocked. You heard that right. It is moving at 75 miles per hour. And again, in full disclosure, the storm is kind of riding along the frontal boundary. So it's going to move a little bit faster than other storms have so far this evening. I'll look at some of the possible areas that could be impacted by this storm as it moves into Bienville Parish. The Bienville community shortly before 12:30. Ashland about 12:16. The Lucky community at 12:24. As the storm starts to move to the northeast at, again, a very quick pace, 70, 75 miles per hour. And again, it should be noted that the storms that we're seeing currently are the last storm threats, if you will. We've got plenty of storms and some noisy activity across much of north central Louisiana from the state line near Junction City back to the south into the northwestern half of Lincoln Parish. Areas like Simsboro and Grambling and just west of Ruston. Still seeing some heavy rain. And then this organized area of thunderstorms, which is more than likely, again, riding kind of right along at the base of this area of low pressure in the atmosphere, but also as a warm front continues to extend northward and as a cold front extends southward. So just to kind of give you kind of a crude overlook of what's going on here, you've got a warm front extending out from a low along the I-20 corridor, and that warm front is providing an area of maximized shear in the atmosphere. And then we also, meanwhile, have associated with this low pressure center an associated cold front off to the south and west. So all of this together provides this corridor of maximized wind shear in the environment. We had already had severe thunderstorm warnings with this activity as it was moving to the north and east, and now you can see that couplet of concern where we could be looking at a possible tornado near the Martin community. Again, this is technically in Red River Parish, but we'll be moving into Bienville Parish probably in the next, I would say, 5 minutes. Again, this storm is moving very quickly. Possible tornado is just northwest of the Liberty and Martin communities. along Highway 155, kind of at the junction of Highway 155 and 507. Again, we'll move very quickly eventually into areas like the Ebenezer community and the Brown, Burke Place, Lucky communities of southern Bienville Parish in the next 5, 10, 15 minutes. So if you are in the path of this storm, obviously we want you to take tornado precautions, interior portion of your home, away from windows and doors. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Think of an interior hallway, closet, bathroom, and protect yourself from flying debris. Again, right over the Martin community is where is kind of our pocket of concern for a possible tornado. If you've been following along, or if you haven't been following along, this is, I believe, our third or fourth time to join you tonight. I guess it depends on if you wanted to count the evening live stream as a severe weather coverage, or if that was just kind of what we were expecting. Regardless, we've joined you multiple times with the potential for tornadic thunderstorms across our area. We haven't really had any reports of damage, but of course a lot of this activity has been happening at night, so you really don't get a lot of reports until daylight. And also, to be honest with you, a lot of these storms have been radar-indicated tornadoes, so we can't really say with a whole lot of certainty or confidence that tornadoes have actually touched down. But the conditions do favor it, especially, again, in this area with this particular storm as it continues off to the north and east. I'm going to put the loop in just really quickly and take all the information down and just let you... And with this loop, you can kind of get the idea of how quickly these storms are moving off to the east and the northeast. Again, over the last hour, this area has covered quite a bit of ground. This storm has covered quite a bit of ground. Also, for those that are just joining a live stream kind of for the first time this evening, this will be kind of a different presentation than what you're used to. Again, a smidge more, I say casual, but just not even more informal. Again, just more of a kind of a community-based platform where we're able to kind of interact with each other a little bit more freely, but also so I can relay information to our app users, communicate with the National Weather Service, check a lot of my information streams, if you will, as these storms move through the area. Again, I'm going to stop the feed for just a brief period so we can see this circulation now just to the northeast of the Martin community. It should also be fair to note and remember that as you watch any kind of live stream on any kind of internet-based system, to remember that there is a delay, so be proactive in seeking shelter ahead of time. Again, still seeing this area of concern near the Martin community, or just to the northeast of the Martin community. This is technically outside of the coverage area, or whatever you want to call it, but the storm will continue to move off to the northeast. Should be moving, well, let's refresh it. Be in this area right here. Now currently moving into portions of Bienville Parish. Also, just kind of zooming out so we can get a better perspective of the storm. We've been zoomed in for quite a bit. This storm, Ruby, is located kind of at the triple point of Red River, Natchitoches, and Bienville parishes. So we've got a lot of different areas. So again, Red River Parish here, Bienville Parish here, Natchitoches Parish here. The most concerning part of this storm is exiting Red River Parish, will briefly enter Natchitoches Parish, and then eventually move into southern Bienville Parish. Still seeing this elongated area of shear where, in theory, kind of along this entire area, which takes almost up the entire width from north to south of the warning polygon. There's just kind of this broad area of rotation. Doesn't necessarily mean that a tornado hasn't formed. It doesn't mean that a tornado is forming. It just means that, again, this storm is rotating to a certain degree. It's also in a fairly high shear environment. We went through the nuts and bolts about how that was working. But as it continues to move very quickly off to the northeast, it almost now to me looks like either, again, the storm's couplet is trying to either reform or reorganize, or maybe perhaps this thing's evolving into more of a damaging wind threat as it moves off to the north and east. Nonetheless, the tornado warning's still in effect. I've actually corrected the tornado warning status has now been corrected from 75 miles an hour down to 35, 40 miles an hour. Storm's still moving pretty quickly. I mean, when you loop it over the last hour, it's covered a lot of ground. So again, moving faster. A lot of the earlier thunderstorms were moving in the 25 to 30 mile an hour range. So to see one moving 35 to 40 miles an hour, obviously noticeably faster. As again, it moves away from the Martin community and into southern sections, relatively rural southern sections of Bienville Parish. So I'm going to go ahead and freeze this radar screen for just a second so we can kind of get the best perspective of this storm. Right now, the best area of rotation would be in this area right here. As I mentioned, it's kind of best to almost kind of cross-reference the two, because there's sometimes just you get some bogus radar artifacts and images that. And, once we get rid of the storms tonight, it'll be cloudy and kind of gross for the early part of the day tomorrow, but skies should clear and should improve after that. But it'll be chilly and gross. And we still have to get rid of these storms here first. Again, shear rate, shear product, still obviously producing an area of worth noting and mentioning as this tornado warning remains active for about another 10 minutes or so for portions of Bienville and now, again, specifically Bienville and Natchitoches parishes. Again, if you're in the path of this storm, where do you go during a tornado warning? Interior portion of your home away from windows and doors. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Think of an interior hallway, closet, or bathroom. We always urge you to grab a helmet, put on shoes, grab a pillow, charge your mobile devices as you head that direction. And just prepare yourself, again, for the possibility of a tornado approaching your area. Donna, this is heading northeast and eventually this storm could make its way toward the I-20 corridor, but to assume that it will be severe or that it could produce a tornado when it gets there is a little premature. Obviously, there's a tornado watch that's still in effect for a good chunk of the area. Speaking of the tornado watch, let's jump to that. There's your tornado watch. And with a smidge of irony, the tornado warning actually goes outside of the tornado watch. Wes, yeah, I mean, for the Douglas and the Shudrint areas later on, it just depends on the life cycle of the storm, if it can hold together long enough. I know that it seems like the Douglas-Shudrint area is close, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, we still got some ground to cover before the storm is a factor in that area. You're talking 50 miles, so at least an hour if the storm's moving 40 miles an hour now. So it's something that we'll watch. Again, this storm in particular is in a little bit more favorable area in terms of shear. There's quite a bit of lightning associated with it, so this storm's kind of hopped onto a favorable spot. How long it can really thrive in the environment that it's been given, again, I have my doubts and I have my skepticism. Again, this storm's pretty strong right now, and I mean it does have some indicators of at least some damaging wind potential. Again, these embedded circulations are relatively quick forming. So sometimes you'll see the circulation and go, ooh, there's a possible tornado. And then sometimes you'll go, I don't really see anything. They should. And that's the other thing. Just because a storm doesn't necessarily show that it's producing a tornado right now, you're not going to see a whole lot of cancel a tornado warning, reissue a tornado warning. That's just not how the Weather Service works. If the warning is issued, they're going to let it roll until there's a very high confidence in being able to cancel it. Again, the tornado warning continues as it sits now for Bienville Parish. Also includes portions of Natchitoches and Red River parishes. Goes for about another 8 minutes. Thanks so much for folks that are taking time out of their early Saturday morning. Chris, in terms of hitting Jonesboro, I mean, you can see it on the map. We got, I mean, the storm itself in some form, yes, you're going to get rain and you're going to get storm activity from this. Will a tornado hit Jonesboro? Where will this tornadic storm hit Jonesboro? Again, you're just going to have to watch out for that one. Yeah, for folks that are hopping in and are wondering about Monroe and West Monroe and Sterlington and a lot of these areas, I mean, again, to zoom out and to kind of put this into perspective, this storm is just now entering our coverage area and has a good 50 to 60 miles before it can make its way into the Monroe, West Monroe, into Ouachita Parish. So you're talking at least an hour, hour and a half of storm motion before it can make its way into our region, unless the forward pace were to pick up a little bit. So, again, the severe threat has existed through a good chunk of the evening. I also want to acknowledge, I know that a lot of folks, Ruston, Monroe, and Northwestward are not under a tornado watch, and so you're probably kind of scratching your heads there, going, why are you not under one? Again, the watches are issued in the best of their abilities when they're issued. There's an outside chance that we may have to go ahead and expand this out locally. I don't work for the National Weather Service. We do work kind of in tandem with them, but I really do genuinely think that this is a relatively isolated threat, and there may not necessarily be a prolonged need to extend it out. Spearsville and you folks, yeah, I mean, y'all are getting a lot of those noisy thunderstorms that are making their way through portions of Lincoln and Union parishes. Nothing severe right now, but still bringing some heavier downpours, a lot of lightning, and it's just noisy. Kristen, yeah, you guys are also kind of dealing with this storm off to your south and west. Again, I'm not going to sit here and say that you're going to get hit by a tornado or by a severe thunderstorm, but you do have a strong storm to your southwest that's going to move into Lincoln and Jackson parishes here in the next half hour to 45 minutes. Yeah, Krista, I mean, I love being able to interact with folks when they ask questions. That will not always be the case. I'm going to be honest with you, because let's look down the line and look into springtime. And if we were to have a massive severe weather event, a moderate risk day, an enhanced risk day, or something like that, and we've got a lot of tornado warnings going on at one time, and you guys know the drill. There have been a lot of instances where you have 5, 6, 7 tornado warnings at one time in our area, and a lot of folks are going to start asking questions at that time, and it's just not going to be realistic. We're going to have so much stuff going on that, again, it's not realistic for me to sit here and think that I can confidently and sufficiently answer every question. But I try to interact with you folks as much as possible. That's the whole point of this. Faraday and Caldwell Parish, I mean, you guys are all going to deal with more showers and storms before the night's over. That's, again, you guys are under a tornado watch. Caldwell, Concordia Parish is both under a tornado watch until 4 a.m. You guys are going to have to deal with all of these storms moving east. And again, I want to stress to you folks that are asking and probably getting an answer that you didn't want to hear that, yeah, you're going to deal with more showers and storms. The overall severe weather threat is still quite isolated in our area. Yes, we've seen several tornado warnings through the evening, but overall, they've been quite sporadic across the area. So while you do need to have ways of receiving severe weather alerts, and I urge you to have alerts that are able to wake you up if need be, I don't want folks to be overly anxious for what is still generally an isolated severe weather threat. So as you take a look at this tornado warning, again, remains in effect until 12:30, so we've got about another 3 minutes or so. And it looks like this tornado warning is about to be replaced downstream with a severe thunderstorm warning. Andy, okay. Hang on a second, guys. I do have an app, yes. Will the app notify you when we go live for weather updates? When I send a push alert, yes. I did not send a push alert out for this one. Simply because and you're about to get everybody's about to get a big severe thunderstorm warning. But I didn't send out a, hey, I'm going live on the app, just simply because this was a severe thunderstorm or a tornado warned storm that had not moved into our area yet. A fairly isolated severe thunderstorm at the time. So, I'm dropping some links in the comments. For Apple users, how to download the app, Android users, how to download the app, and options on how to register for Weather Call Next Gen. Again, we've been talking about that for a good chunk of the night. For folks that value their sleep and don't mind paying just a little extra for, like I said, everything else we give you is free, but this is just an additional add-on service, adds you an extra layer of security that will call, text, or email you when your address has a tornado warning or a severe thunderstorm warning issued. So if you value your sleep and you just want to, hey, I just want somebody to call me if a warning's issued, you can sign up for that. Again, you can go to digitalweatherdesk.com for more information. A lot of folks are probably fixing to hop on the live stream because the new severe thunderstorm warning was just issued, and it does include Monroe, West Monroe, and a good chunk of Ouachita Parish, portions of Lincoln Parish, all of Jackson Parish, Northern Wind Parish, Southern Bienville Parish, most of Bienville Parish, and a good chunk of Caldwell Parish. As severe thunderstorms capable of producing 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts move to the east, I believe it's 60 miles per hour. 45 miles per hour. Okay, so our tornado warning has dropped off, but again, here's a look at this line segment of thunderstorms, again, capable of producing up to 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts across north-central Louisiana. Normally, I wouldn't hang out for an extended period of time for a severe thunderstorm warning like this, but I said that a lot so far this evening. And again, overall, the digital weather desk is still trying to kind of establish itself, and folks are still trying to find us. So we're going to hang out for this one. And, of course, I know a lot of folks are also probably just now waking up and getting this warning. So here's a look at some of the arrival times, some crude arrival times, and I kind of overestimated them. We still got 30 to 45 minutes in some of these spots, but obviously if you're driving, you want to get off the roadways and kind of make a path for these storms as they make their way through. They are producing some pretty heavy rainfall, and a lot of spots have already seen quite a bit of rain. Localized street flooding will be a possibility. Yeah, it's the setup's good. I still don't necessarily think I feel 100% comfortable in my skin. It's kind of like riding a bike, but the bike's chain needs oil all the time, and so I'm still, again, trying to get comfortable in my own skin. Everybody's like, "Well, you've been doing this for 20 years." Not this. It's still very different. And so while a lot of things are very comfortable, some things are not so comfortable. So still trying to get settled. I still feel like I don't make sense a lot of the time. I don't feel like I'm telling a good weather story half the time. I don't feel like I am communicating as clearly to you folks for most of the time. And I'm not saying that for sympathy or anything like that. That's just how I feel. That's just the honest to goodness truth. I don't feel like I'm as with it as I usually feel like I am. I usually am pretty confident in my abilities, and not to say that I'm not conveying information. I think everybody's kind of getting the information that they need from this live stream, which that's good. But there are moments where I'm like, "What, dude? What are you doing?" And still don't necessarily feel overly confident in I don't feel settled yet, if that makes sense. But we'll get there. Just a matter of time. I'm going to continue to loop the radar, and again, this is a very large severe thunderstorm warning for a storm that's moving relatively quickly. So we're just going to kind of hang out with this, especially, we've got a couple hundred folks that are here on different streams and on different platforms at 12:30 in the morning on a Saturday. We get that a lot. I know a lot of folks that have storm anxiety, and I was actually talking about this with my mom, who's also on the live stream, and for all the other folks that are hopping in as well. I think with folks that have storm anxiety, and for us to have these streams, at least during some of the more active severe weather events, I feel like it just gives everybody that sense that they're not having to deal with that by themselves, that they're not in it alone, if that makes any sense. And so it just kind of gives, again, that sense of community, that we're all here together, that no matter where we are, and again, it sounds kind of cheesy to think about it this way, but no matter where we are, we don't do politics here. We just talk about the weather. That's it. We're just all just trying to get through the day, and that's it. LK, thanks so much for hopping in. A lot of folks are chiming in and joining in when they got that new severe thunderstorm warning. And we appreciate you guys hopping in. Thanks for making time on this early Saturday morning. We're just going to kind of hang out here as the storms roll through. Didn't mean to be out of camera angle there. It's been a long day, so I'm just kind of wiggling around and like I said, we're just here. We're just here. See? I just got my weather call text message. I say just got it. I just looked down and saw it. It's been sitting there for 6 minutes. So. Seth joining us from Oregon. Patrick, thank you for your kind words. May asking about another heavy round of rainfall. Oh, everybody's hopping in. Hang on a second. The chat's moving around. I can't read. Will this be the last round for the night in Marion? It is the beginning of the last round of the night, if you will. You've got a lot of storms, and then you've got all this activity back to your south as well. So all that's got to move through the region. But yes, this is kind of like the beginning of the end in terms of rainfall. That sounds really gloomy otherwise. Lost track of how many you've done with. Well, again, get ready for a longer, more interactive time dealing with severe weather. Lots of folks hopping in that openly admit that they have storm anxiety, and again, that's it's something that's very real in this area, especially with some of the events that we've encountered. When you start thinking about the last 10 years and some of the stuff that we've dealt with, from the 2016 floods to the Ruston tornado to the Easter Sunday tornadoes in Ouachita Parish, and everything in between too. The Caldwell Parish tornado from a couple of years ago. Again, there's a lot of reasons for folks to be alarmed and to be anxious about the weather. I'm anxious about the weather too. That's initially how I got into doing this. I was terrified of thunderstorms as a kid, and I've got to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of them now. But I figure if I'm not going to be able to sleep through thunderstorms, I might as well be able to talk about them. And so that's where we are. William asks, what about hail? A lot of these storms, I think the earlier storms probably had better hail potential than these do. I wouldn't be surprised if these storms were producing small hail, but I would not expect them to be producing severe hail, meaning I don't expect them to be producing quarter-size or larger hail, but maybe some penny or dime-sized, nickel-sized hail in some instances as this storm continues to move through northern Louisiana. I forgot about Laura and Delta. One day we'll tell the story about Laura, the full story about Laura, because we were closing on the house that we live in now. We closed on the day after Laura, and we were literally only moving down the street, but trees were down on both sides of the house, and it was nuts. I remember that live stream, JJ, where we just sat there and we were just talking, and I mean, it seemed like we were there for a while. There's a lot of folks that are starting to hear the rumbles of thunder in Calhoun. You're probably hearing it in Chatham, Eris, and a lot of these spots that are hopping on, and you just want to know what's going on. So that's why we're here. Not necessarily here because the threat is overly widespread or something that you should be alarmed about. Of course, we're never here to try to alarm you about the weather. We're just trying to inform you. But for folks that are waking up and hearing some rumbles of thunder, and they're probably saying, "Oh, Jared's on a live stream. Oh, this has got to be bad." No, it's really not. It's just, again, we got a severe thunderstorm warning out. There's possibility of some damaging wind gusts as the storm moves off to the east. And again, it's going to impact a large area along and south of I-20. Kristen, thanks so much for joining in. Haley, watching from just north of Eris, and says the thunder's starting to ramp back up. Thanks so much. And for folks that send in these reports, I see a lot of them. I may not just read them all out loud, but I appreciate you guys sending them in because it lets me know that we're not crazy when we look at these things on the radar. Scott's watching from East Texas. Thanks so much for joining in. Again, For folks that are hopping in, don't forget to download the Digital Weather Desk app. And I know you're probably thinking, well, I don't live in this area. The app works across the entire country. You can input up to 15 different locations to receive alerts for, and those can be anywhere across the country as well. And if you already have a weather app that you trust and that you like, that's cool. As long as you're getting your weather information. Again, I never ask to be your only source for weather information. Just be one of them. Sierra's watching from Jonesboro. Thanks so much for joining in. Hello, Hillary. Thank you so much for the kind words. I appreciate you guys just, like I said, taking time out to be so supportive during this change and to be so open-minded with the thought process of trying to do something like this and to provide some information in a very unique manner. Just very, very thankful to the community and to our area for making this happen. Miss Welch asking, why is the Weather Channel app so much different than all of the others? I got to be honest with you. I can't answer that because I haven't owned a Weather Channel app literally in 20 years. Literally in 20 years. Couldn't tell you what numbers they give you. I just know that with my app, that the forecast information that you're getting outside of my area is derived by a local National Weather Service office. The forecast information that you're getting inside our coverage area is derived somehow from me. So if it stinks, it's my fault. Starting to hear the rumbles of thunder here in Midtown Monroe. But again, like I said, I just appreciate folks. And for those that appreciate what we're doing here, I will say this over and over and over and over and over and over again. The weather's the easy part. Making this a job and a business and not a hobby is the hard part. And the people that make that possible are the local business partners who pay the bills and who support this venture. So when you're like, hey, Jared, appreciate what you're doing, send them a message. Look up one of these businesses and send them a message and say, hey, thanks so much for supporting the Digital Weather Desk. It's as simple as that. I missed some stuff. Hang on. Shelby, I spent many nights in a bubble in the ground in Oak Grove. Katie says, I'm in Downsville, hear thunder off and on. Again, you folks in Downsville are not under the severe thunderstorm warning. You're north of the severe thunderstorm warning. You're going to get some lightning, you're going to get some thunder, maybe some gusty winds, but I don't expect anything severe in your area. Quitman, Eric says they've been enjoying the rain because it's been a dry winter. Boy, that's an understatement of the century, sir. It has been an extremely dry winter, and the prolonged rainfall is genuinely just what the doctor ordered. Haley, or Hallie, Hallie. I don't want to mess it up. Again, thunderstorms are about to move back through. Again, Monroe, West Monroe, under a severe thunderstorm warning that goes until 1:15. That's the severe thunderstorm warning you're looking at right now. Damaging wind gusts will be are the main concern. Possibility of Richland Parish. What time? Again, this warning goes till 1:15 in the morning through Ouachita Parish. I would think 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, probably in Richland Parish, if that storm can hang on for that long. Melissa's joining us from Arcadia. Thanks so much for joining in. It's probably noisy, but you folks are just north of the severe thunderstorm warning as it sits. Candace is in from Caples Road. Thanks so much for joining in. A lot of Calhoun folks. A lot of folks downloading the app tonight. Thanks so much. Jonesboro, it's about to get noisy in Jonesboro, probably in the next 5 to 10 minutes. Under a severe thunderstorm warning. And to be honest with you, again, I'm not trying to scare you, but the strongest part of this storm will be moving along Highway 167 from Quitman to Hodge to Jonesboro, basically from the Lincoln-Jackson Parish line right down 167 to Jonesboro. They're about, you guys are probably, and again, I don't necessarily know if we're going to see 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts within this area, but it is probably the strongest segment of this storm as it moves off to the east. Yeah, Jeff. I mean, again, I don't want to spend too much time. I don't want to cause any undue stress, and I don't think people realize, especially a lot of these social media pages that get really, really nuts with their weather stuff. I don't think they realize how much anxiety and how much stress and how much money they can cost folks if vacation plans are interrupted or if plans are changed or for instance, like when we were talking about parades and outdoor activities and things like that, that can all be disrupted by somebody that's just being irresponsible with weather information. David said Nick is also up. I'm assuming you're talking Nick Mikulus. We were texting earlier and then the warning popped up. And then we both stopped texting because I think we both covered the warning at the same time. Yeah, and like I said, I'm one that's not. I'm not gonna sleep during thunderstorms. So I was going to be awake anyway. But as I mentioned, again, full disclosure, and keep reiterating, nothing is permanent with the digital weather desk. So as we continue to learn, or as I continue to learn, I say we, as a community, us collectively, continue to learn when we need to do live streams and for how long and for what circumstances. I'm begging for patience. We will not be live for every minute of every severe thunderstorm warning that's ever issued in the ArkLaMiss region. That's just not physically possible, nor do I think it would really serve us the best way. When you've got noisy thunderstorms at midnight on a Saturday and folks are getting woke up going, what the heck's going on? And I think it makes sense. But when you get the rogue pop-up summertime thunderstorms and one of them goes severe, I don't think it's best serving to our community to kind of blow that out of the water and scare folks and all that stuff. And again, also in terms of a work-life balance and the stress of trying to be live for every severe thunderstorm, it's just not practical. It's really not. Kay's asking if this is headed toward West Monroe. West Monroe is under a severe thunderstorm warning till 1:15. There's kind of two different segments of storms that are headed through. The first wave that's moving through Calhoun currently, probably not severe. And then the secondary cluster of storms that's moving through the Jonesboro-Hodge area and along 167, that's the area that probably has a higher likelihood of potentially producing some severe wind gusts. Let's hang on. And it is different, like, again, as we have time to kind of discuss this stuff very openly, yes, I'm kind of operating everything. You're your own audio person, you're your own director, you're your own producer, you're your own everything. And so there's a lot of buttons to push, there's a lot of talking to do while the buttons are being pushed. And so sometimes I will say things that may not necessarily make sense, or I have to go back and kind of like, wait a minute, that's not what I meant, or because there's just a lot of things going on in the noggin right now. And until, again, I get comfortable in my own skin, there will be times where I just kind of pause and mid-thought and then lose track of things. But we'll get there. Here's a look at I-20. I was looking just out over Well Road just to see what we could see, if we could see anything. There's not a whole lot happening, and traffic obviously moving smoothly. It's midnight. Nobody's going to be out there. So I just wanted to check that out real quick. So let's go back to the radar. Starting to get some more rumbles of thunder here in Midtown. And we've received our first possible tornado damage report. And it's actually in Red River Parish, near where the tornado warning was initially issued in Red River Parish, just to the east of Coshada, near the Rolling Hills Trailer Park off Highway 71. There are some snapped trees that have been reported there. Oh, good. Nick tells me you'll still lose track. Good deal. I thought it was just a one-day thing. I'm also a person that can easily lose their train of thought in most instances anyway. So it doesn't take much to get me kind of thrown off. I will say also, eventually we're going to get to a point in the 2 or 3 o'clock hour, if we're still doing this, hopefully we're not, where I'm going to have to switch from contacts to glasses. Because we hit a stretch after about 18 or 20 hours in contacts where they just start sticking. And if you wear contacts, you know what I'm talking about, where your eyes get kind of they just get dry and they just get bleh. I don't want to gross people out talking about it. I know a lot of folks don't want to talk about this stuff. Again, if you're joining us, normally we wouldn't be doing a live stream for a severe thunderstorm warning like this, but it's Saturday, midnight, or almost 1 a.m. We've got a tornado watch out until 4 a.m. for a good chunk of the region, southern half of the region. There's the tornado watch. Again, southern half of the coverage area, and then the severe thunderstorm warning is actually in an area that's not under a tornado watch, or at least a good chunk of it is. But a lot of folks are getting the alerts on their phones for a severe thunderstorm warning, or they're getting woke up by lightning, thunder, wind, whatever. Well, I had some of those blue light eyeglass thingies, and my wife stole them because we both work from home. And Debbie asking where the storm is now. The strongest cell that we are watching is this area right here. Right along Highway 167, probably now just east of Highway 167. Yep. Headed toward the Antioch and St. Rest communities. Eventually toward Oak Ridge, Ears, Chatham, just basically through Jackson Parish. That's the strongest part of the storm right now that I see. Not really seeing anything that's rotating. So, again, this looks to be more of a damaging wind potential. But yeah, she stole my blue light filtering glasses or whatever. I never really had gotten into a routine. I bought them before I was working from home, and then I never adapted to wearing them when I started working from home because she had already stolen them at that point. And she works from home literally right beside me. A lot of folks don't know that, but we both have work from home jobs now. She's been working from home for years, and she stole them. I can overshare that kind of stuff about her because she's asleep. Yeah, in Calhoun, you're kind of in between waves of thunderstorms, so you're probably getting the thunder from both rounds of thunderstorms, along with the wind and the rain and all that stuff. Again, also still under a severe thunderstorm warning. So there's a reason why it sounds kind of noisy and unnerving, if you will. Brittany's also joining us in from Calhoun. Well, we've got two different Britneys from Calhoun right now. A-N-Y and N-E-Y. One T and then two T's. And then we've got Hannah from Quitman. Hello. Only heavy rain. Megan says wind is crazy in Calhoun, but it has settled a little bit. You guys probably just got the storms that are moving through West Monroe, the Drew community, Shinny Drew exit, and some of those areas. Just making sure that we're not missing something while I'm jabbering. That What does my wife do? She actually she works for ALSAC, which is the kind of the fundraising organization for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. That's how we met, was through the St. Jude Dream Home campaign. Back when I worked at the in television, we did the Dream Home campaign. She came up 1 year to help with the whole process of giving away the home. Met her, started dating, and the rest is history. Oh, Hillary. That's cool. Hey, real quick, while we're doing this, she asked, which businesses should we thank for supporting the Digital Weather Desk? Those. Folks say it's raining in the 71292. That's south of I-20 in West Monroe. Thanks for the heads up. Those are the local businesses that you should thank and support. Again, if it's as simple as looking them up on Facebook and sending them a message, or the next time you need their services. A lot of folks saying the winds are picking up 40 Oaks Farm. Y'all are getting that first round of thunderstorms that are moving in. And then there's going to be a kind of a secondary punch in behind them. So all the folks that are talking about off 40 Oaks, we're talking north of West Monroe or northern West Monroe. You're getting this relatively potent little cell that's moving through, and then there's another one kind of south of Interstate 20 that's going to eventually move through the Brownsville-Balcomville area here shortly as well. And then we've got more storms back to the southwest. I also don't want to lose sight of the fact there's a lot of rain that's fallen. So now with some fairly saturated ground, I wouldn't be surprised for some 40 or 50 mile an hour wind gusts to maybe uproot a tree. It's gotten pretty soggy pretty quickly across the area. Y'all stop sharing your zip codes. I'm just kidding. Y'all can share your zip codes. I'm not going to know them all. Jonesboro, kind of the roughest stuff's moving right through your neighborhoods right now. I mean, you guys are kind of right in the thick of it. Kind of on the back end of the thick of it. Should be conditions, I would think, which should start improving along 167 in the next 10, 15 minutes or so. There's quite a lot of wind and rain. A lot of folks on Good Hope talking about the same thing. Old Highway 15, same story. Yeah, just making sure that I'm not missing anything. For folks that are hopping in, thanks so much for taking time out of your early Saturday morning. I know you're not probably here willingly. You're probably here because it's loud and thundering in your area. For folks in Monroe, West Monroe specifically, obviously you're getting the first round of thunderstorms currently. There's going to be another round of thunderstorms in the next half hour or so. Those are the ones that initially prompted the severe thunderstorm warning that we are currently under. Starting to rain here in Midtown again. Sorry, I had to switch to a different mode, and so we switch over to the traffic cameras, which are made possible by LADOTD. And you can start seeing some of the rain. Well Road looks like it's pretty gross right now. Lynette says Highway 34, lots of rain. Northeast Ruston near 821, getting some heavy rain, thunder, and lightning. Again, for folks that are sending those reports in, thank you so much. Obviously, we want you to stay safe, stay inside. Don't go out trying to measure winds or anything like that. Andy, thanks so much. Again, we appreciate LADOTD allowing us to use these cameras. The delusions of I said the delusions. The plans that I have down the line are to also to kind of create our own camera network. But again, when you're launching something like this, from where we are right now, there's only so many hours in the day, and I'm only one person, so. And I don't say that, again, for any kind of sympathy or anything. We simply got a lot of plans, a lot of exciting things that I'm ready to bring to you, but it's just going to take some time. And I know you guys understand that. Heaviest rain continuing to move through portions of Midtown Monroe all the way back to the south and southwest. Dustin asks, have we had any reports of hail yet? I haven't received any confirmation of hail. A couple of folks earlier this evening in some of the other thunderstorms had told us that they were experiencing some hail, but that's really all I've gotten so far in terms of hail reports. And in terms of the storms that we're dealing with right now, I haven't heard any, at least not yet. Andy says it's getting loud in Sterlington, kind of the same in Rocky Branch. Yeah, these are going to be some noisy thunderstorms. We're talking several hundred lightning strikes. In the last 15 minutes or so. Brianna says heavy rain off Arkansas Road in West Monroe. Yeah, again, a lot of these spots are going to see another round of pretty heavy rainfall. Again, just a reminder, I'm going through a lot of different information from a lot of different streams, and for folks that joined us earlier, I kind of went through the whole process. There's a lot of screens in front of me, so as I look, and if it ever looks like I'm looking at you and then erratically around, there's a lot of information in front of me. There is a computer to my right here that houses the stream that sends the video and the graphics and everything out to internet land. So that's to the right. I have the graphics computer that's showing the radar and all that stuff immediately right in front of me, and then a teleprompter above that, which is showing the exact same screen so I can look at you and see what I'm seeing right here. And then I'm controlling that computer with this screen right here, and there's a completely different computer over here. And that computer is used to manage, send messages through the app, to communicate with the National Weather Service, to just look general stuff up on the internet, to look up stuff like the Louisiana Mesonet numbers, which I'm going to look up right now. We've already picked up another half-inch of rain in Eris today. When I say today, I'm talking about Saturday. In the last hour and 4 minutes, we've already picked up a half an inch of rain in Eris. We've already picked up 0.6 of an inch of rain in Dubai. 0.42 of an inch of rain in Coshada. 0.44 of an inch of rain in Lake Providence. So you can kind of get the takeaway that these storms are really producing some heavier downpours. Kimberly says the rain has picked up again in West Carroll Parish. Let me switch over and give you a little bit better vantage point. Yeah, you can see the scattered storms continuing to... They're just continuing to do their thing. And to be honest with you, I don't know... Just absolutely clobbered the microphone there. I don't know how many folks really want to hear this, but the forecast was... Aside from timing, the forecast was pretty good today. Timing stunk. We were horrible on that. But yeah, I mean, we knew that we were going to see multiple waves of showers and thunderstorms, and that's exact. We knew that there was going to be a severe weather threat, and like I said, I'm not that's just the weather community in general. Did a pretty good job on the forecast there. Yeah, South Grant. Quitman. I would venture to say that you folks in Quitman, it should start to improve here shortly. In the next 5 or 10 minutes, I would think it should start getting a little bit better as the strongest of this activity continues to press eastward. For those that are joining in, we've got about another 10 minutes left on a severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Lincoln, Jackson, Caldwell, and Ouachita parishes. It is Saturday morning, and you have found your way to the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank, and I'm Jared Floyd. Again, just making sure that I'm not missing anything. I have a really bad habit of not looking at my phone and then looking down and there's like 85 things that I needed to know about. Chastity just got here. You folks, I mean, we've got a severe thunderstorm warning out. It does not include areas out by Ouachita High School. It includes basically downtown Monroe westward. And it's in effect for another 8 minutes. Will we see another severe thunderstorm warning after that? I'm not sure. But there's still some strong thunderstorms moving through Ouachita Parish. Are they severe in your area? They may not be severe by the time they get there, but they will still probably be pretty strong, producing some lightning, some heavy rainfall, some gusty winds. Again, as long as you're indoors and off the roadways, you're probably doing exactly what you should be doing and where you need to be. Delhi and Crowville, winds are picking up and getting strong again. I'm going to switch back over. There's also some other cells popping up in Madison Parish. And a lot of these clusters of storms are still going to be capable of producing some 40 and 50 mile an hour wind gusts. Those aren't severe by definition, but that still gets your attention, that's for sure. Sherry asks, El Dorado in the clear besides rain? Yeah. Southern Arkansas, it's just going to be rain. Maybe the occasional rumble of thunder. Which you're probably, actually, I say the occasional rumble of thunder. It's probably quite a bit of rumbles of thunder. But in terms of that, yeah. It's just rain in southern Arkansas. Will Ouachita Parish get another warning from the stuff in Jackson Parish? We'll just have to wait and see. The way that this is looking on radar right now, I would say probably not. It had a pretty strong, organized kind of core of a complex of storms as it was moving east. It no longer looks like that. Jonesboro probably shouldn't have much longer. Again, as you take a look at this storm as it's exiting Jonesboro, again, conditions should start improving. You're going to deal with the rain for a little bit longer, but conditions should start improving here in the next, I would say, any time now, any second now. Matt asks, will we be off the path tomorrow at the golf course? Depends on which golf course you talk about, buddy. But the answer for most of them is going to be no. Amy says the thunder's starting to pick back up again in Bastrop. Caroli Park still getting some hard rain. Yeah, so there's a lot of folks that are, again, just being awoken by some noisy thunderstorms. Kimberly, South Monroe still under a severe thunderstorm warning for another 5 minutes or so. The storms themselves do look weaker than they did when the warning was issued. The stream's been up and running for about an hour now. We started with tornado warnings out over Bienville Parish. Then that evolved into a damaging wind threat that has continued to move along I-20. I will say that these storms do look weaker than where they were. That doesn't mean they can't re-intensify. We've seen that happen a couple of times so far tonight. But these look to be gusty winds, but not necessarily damaging winds. And it also looks to be a pretty heavy rainmaker at this point. There's rain and thunderstorms generally. A lot of folks saying there's plenty of lightning in Farmerville. Colleen says the rain's picking up in Eris. Yeah, you folks in Eris and Chatham, it's about to get kind of gross for the next 10, 15 minutes, if not longer. Please avoid travel. Don't drive in this because, again, a lot of these areas have already seen quite a bit of rain. Dubach already at 0.63 of an inch of rain for the day. Yeah, it should start, Melinda, it should be calming down in Ruston. Will Ruston be in the clear for severe after this? Yes. So there's like this large glob of an area, and I can't even really slice it out parish by parish or county by county, but there is a large glob of our area that is clear and can kind of go to sleep, and it would be everybody northwest of this line. So everybody where the smiley face is, or on that side of the line where the smiley face is, you guys could go to sleep. You're going to get some rain, you're going to get some thunderstorms and stuff like that, but there's really no severe weather threat. Going to get some rumbles of thunder and stuff like that, but the main severe weather threat is generally from our active severe thunderstorm warning, south and east. So basically along, well, it's the same line I just drew, just to the south and east. Oh, I got a spammer on Twitch. Go away, spammer. Go away. Block. Thunder and lightning here on the Arkansas line, north of Bastrop. Can't pull up the weather app, but that's no bueno. Let me see. Let me make sure it's at least working on my end. It may just be. It may be the internet signal, to be honest with you. Yeah, because it's pulling up on mine. But just keep trying. All right. Kristen asked if we're skipping winter this year. I think winter's going to make its sneaky return later this month. Not necessarily implying winter weather, but I think it's going to get cold again toward the end of the month. How much colder? Don't know, but I think we're gonna get there. Oh, it's your cell tower. Yeah, that's what I was afraid. That's what I was trying to voice and say, but I did a horrible job of doing so. Miss Welch asks, so that you know that she says, I know that you have people that sponsor you and things. Do you have some way your viewing area could do that? Like send a monthly amount to help. And I've had some folks ask about doing like a supporter thing that's, you know, just for folks that wanted to send. And as so blessed and as wonderful and as touching as it is for folks to want to do that, I genuinely want this to 100% be as free and as accessible as it possibly can be. And I I don't want to take the money out of pockets of folks that y'all could be spending it on something else. Weather trustworthy, reliable weather information should always be free. As you see the severe thunderstorm warnings pop off the map, if we have to reassess it somewhere down the line, so be it. But again, for as long as I can make it possible, I would rather make this 100% free to you. Yes, there will be some things every now and then. The weather call relationship, that add-on, yeah, that's an add-on service, but it's also 100% optional. But to answer your question in a shorter period, no, I don't have a way for you guys to contribute. I do have plans down the road to offer some small things. First off, we do have the hats. If you want to buy a Chunky Snow, which today is, I think, the 5-year anniversary of Chunky Snow, or 6-year anniversary. I don't know. But anyway, we have the Chunky Snow hat, the Too Long Didn't Read hat. Those are for sale at digitalweatherdesk.com if you wanted to buy one of those. But also I have somewhere down the line, and a friend of mine gave me this idea of buy the meteorologist a coffee. And it would basically be where we set something up with one of our local coffee shops, and you could just basically, anytime you were like, hey, thanks, Jared, we appreciate it, you could essentially go to a link either on our website or something like that, and you could basically just buy me a $5 gift card to that coffee shop. And we just go there and I just drink coffee. I always thought that'd be kind of cool. But the simplest thing is just to, again, support our local sponsors. And it doesn't even, and I know you're probably thinking, well, financially, that's a big, again, it could be as simple as just sending them a message, a Facebook message, or going by their stores or their offices and going, hey, I noticed that you guys, support the Digital Weather Desk. Thank you. And please continue to do so. Because to be honest with you, a lot of these, and again, for folks that are hopping in and there's some noisy thunderstorms going through the area, I'm just going to loop the radar while we sit here and chat for a little bit longer before we wrap things up. But there are no active warnings across the region as we speak. But for a lot of these local business partners, again, there will come a time where our agreement will come up, and they will have to look and go, hey, we're supporting this, or do we feel like we are, getting our investments worth out of it? And if they continue to hear, hey, we've heard from everybody in town how much they love and appreciate what we're doing, what we're supporting, they're going to continue to support it. If we continue to grow, if this continues to get bigger, and we continue to make it better, and we make it a broader community that reaches more people, and it provides more exposure to all these businesses that do support what we're doing here, that creates growth for everybody, and everybody benefits from it. So again, this all works hand in hand, and I truly, genuinely think that all that stuff will work itself out. It may be me being naive as a new business owner or something like that, but again, in my mind, the supporters that we have so far have just been awesome. Case in point, Mike Larry with Bayou Power Sports texted me earlier this evening, and he was just like, hey man, your coverage is really good. And so hearing that from not only just one of our local business partners, but just from the community, that folks see what we're doing, they get what we're doing, they appreciate what we're doing, lets us know we're going in the right direction. And that's all we need right now. It is starting to set up for some good sleeping weather there, Jeff. I agree. And John, yeah, like I said, I do want to set up something as an opportunity for folks to again, be able to show their appreciation, but I also don't want folks to feel like they financially have to support this, because they don't. And I never wanted that to be the case. Because then you get into the slippery slope of folks that are making mountains out of molehills just because, well, every time I do a live stream, they're paying me money. That gets really unethical and gross real quick. I don't like it. Oh, 1:20 in the morning. No active watches, warnings, or no active warnings in our area. We do have active watch. It's a tornado watch. It's still in effect till 4 a.m. for the counties and parishes that you see shaded in red. Another 2.5 hours. What about max velocity? Am I allowed to talk about other meteorologists on... I guess I can do whatever I want. We talked about Nick Nicholas earlier. He's one of my favorites. He's my hero. That's another thing that I'm also trying to get used to in this whole process. Krista, May, thank you so much for your kind words. 3 inches of rain. Gloria, that's great to hear. You can unofficially lift the burn ban. You can't officially lift the burn ban. That's another thing that I'm also trying to get used to is the fact that there are no rules and that we can say and we can do whatever we please. Obviously, we want to make it a family-friendly and educational stream. Thought I heard my wife walking through the living room. I think it's just the thunder. We have a crawl space house, and so everything sounds the same. If somebody walks through the house, the footsteps sound like thunder. The cat, sometimes when he goes trampling through, he can sound like thunder. I know I sound like thunder. Oh, well, I mean, yeah, like I said, there are a lot of folks out there that get excited about the weather, and again, it creates a lot of anxiety when you start talking about big storm systems and severe weather and stuff like that. And we've always tried to pick our wording very delicately when notifying folks about severe weather. And that's why I was very, very strong to try to urge folks today and remind folks today that while most of us will see thunderstorms, not all of us will see severe thunderstorms. And I think that's really, really important because, again, during this time of the year and beyond, going into the springtime months, there is a lot of anxiety anytime we mention severe thunderstorms. And that's not a fun way to live. It's not a fun way to sit there and just be constantly anxious about everything. So we try to just, again, quell fears, try to limit them, bring them down, negate them where we can. Make sure I'm not missing anything from the National Weather Service. I just heard my phone buzz. Yeah, everything seems to be moving pretty smoothly in terms of these storms. They've weakened considerably as well. We're probably getting toward the point where we can start to wind down the live streams. Just making sure I was just looking through the comments, make sure that everybody was still getting all the information they need. A reminder again of all the folks that make this happen. Again, a simple Facebook message, a simple thank you to them, or if you ever need their services. You roof leaks, give Brown's Roofing a call. You got water damage, give Serve Pro a call. You need a portable generator, Bayou Power Sports. Need outdoor equipment, 3B Outdoor Equipment. You need hardware stuff or a little bit of anything, 3B Hardware. Need to grab a beer tomorrow? Grab a pizza? Go to Flying Tiger. Need to sell your car? Go see Big Shot Bob. Again, if you don't need any of those, send him a message and say thanks. Thanks for supporting the Digital Weather Desk. Yeah, the Luna area is starting to pick back up with more thunderstorms. We still have this fairly potent, just general cluster of storms making its way through Caldwell and Ouachita Parish. Again, nothing severe. The warnings have been allowed to expire, but still out there dealing with that kind of stuff currently. Janet's headed to bed. Don't blame you. A lot of folks should probably be headed to bed here shortly. Again, for folks that are wondering, how do I go about if you're a business owner and you would like to be kind of a part of what we're doing here, you can email me at jared@digitalweatherdesk.com. Obviously, I'm telling you this stuff right now because if we were in the middle of a tornado warning, I would have not just done that. Please be aware of that. And if I ever do that in the middle of a tornado warning, I would hope that somebody just absolutely lose their mind. Yeah, again, we've got some that's another thing to keep in mind with storms is noisy storms don't necessarily imply that they're really that bad. Noisy storms can be non-severe. Any thoughts on winter weather chances for late January, early February? I mean, it's possible. I would think late January's unlikely. Maybe not. But I think February gives us a better window, and typically February is kind of our magic month for all kinds of crazy, weird weather stuff. I don't know if this is going to be the year for winter weather for us, though. I don't know. We'll all find out together, I guess. All right, so I think we're kind of at a point where I feel good about creating a stopping point for these storms as they continue to make their way eastward. I'm not going to bet. I don't think this is hey, we're going to shut it down and it's going to be done for the entire rest of the night. There is still a tornado watch out for the southern counties and parishes in our area till 4 a.m. That's another 2.5 hours. Do I expect the severe weather threat to be overly concentrated and to be, very persistent through that time frame? Not necessarily, but have ways of receiving severe weather alerts just in case these storms kind of find a favorable environment and find a way to intensify. Have those alerts, of course, through the Digital Weather Desk app available for Apple and Android users. Our partnership with Weather Call, again, for a small yearly fee, you can have a way of receiving phone calls, texts, and emails when a warning is issued for your area. And, of course, the NOAA Weather Radio is always a handy investment. Clearly, if you don't have one, it's probably not a good idea to go out and get one right now, but have one for the next go-round. Thank you, Samantha, for the kind words. And thank you for everybody that's, again, taking time out of a late Friday night, early Saturday morning to stay updated with the weather. It is a heck of a lot easier to convey messaging to folks that are paying attention. And you folks are paying attention. Again, we are providing weather where it is desired, not required. And weather is the only programming here at the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. About to shut things down for the rest of the night, at least for the time being. If warnings pop back up across the area, if tornado warnings are issued, we'll start another stream all over again. That would be number 4 or 5 of the night. I don't know. Counting doesn't matter. Again, you can always check the latest forecast, interactive radar alerts. All those things are available at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the Digital Weather Desk app. Have a great rest of your weekend if this is the last time we interact with one another. But, again, I'll keep an eye on things as we go through the rest of the night. And as always, thanks so much for joining the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank.